Welcome to Graveyard Crypto. Today's date is February 22nd, 2021. The current price of Bitcoin is about $51,857. Ethereum is at $1,700. And the total market cap is $1.592 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is at 61.6%. We had an all-time high on Bitcoin, hitting at $58,300. So that was spectacular. I mean, definitely got a dip under 50 today. So, and it's also been a while since our last podcast, 3 weeks, where last time we recorded, I think we were in like the 30s. So that's a big difference. Ethereum hit $2,041, another all-time high for Ethereum back, I don't know, it was like a couple days ago. So things are definitely looking good. I mean, I think we were at like 1.79 trillion market cap yesterday. So it's just really just moving up on a crazy thing. Just for everyone know that's watching, please hit that like button, subscribe button, help us grow the channel. And we'll get right into it where let's go the big news. Tesla, right? Last time we're here, we didn't have this news, but Tesla bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. I think they paid average price around $30,000, if I'm correct.
It was in the low 30s. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 30s. And it's actually pretty funny about that whole story because even at the current price, I think still that Tesla made more money, unrealized gains, buying Bitcoin than they did actually selling cars this year. So if you're a corporation.
Can I correct you a little on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
They made more in Bitcoin this year than they did all of last year. That was the stat I read.
Okay.
So that's how much that paid off so quickly for them.
Well, I meant like a year, like 365 days ago. That's all I meant. Like basically they're making more money on crypto than they are actually, doing what they're doing, which is, as a car company or technology company, whatever you want to say. So that's, if you're another corporation and you're looking at that, you got to be saying to yourself, like, what are we doing not actually doing this? So, I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on this situation?
There's a lot of different places I could go. I mean,
yeah,
I think a great example is, first thing that came to mind anyway is MicroStrategy was the first big name that did this. If you look at the stock price on their chart, it looks crazier than a crypto chart because the value of their company is just rising exponentially with that tide because they also have a business that they're selling software.
Right.
Think about how many more opportunities he could get into with that much behind him now. He just turned that company into how many 10x? It's 10 times more valuable than it was a year ago just because of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think when I was looking at, because actually I was looking once they were, and it's funny because MicroStrategy was never really on my target, or I was never really looking ever at them. In fact, Michael Saylor was never even a name that I have heard or knew about.
I was unaware of either. Yeah.
Right, until he came in and started doing that. And actually recently they just bought another $1 billion. I think like $1.01 billion worth of Bitcoin again. So it's absolutely crazy. I think they started out, I mean, this is Tesla right here, but MicroStrategy I think was at 130, 150, and I think they were at like almost $1,000 a share.
The price has gotten above 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hanging around there like the high 900s. Yep.
Yeah. Is this now we're looking at Tesla right now? Or are we supposed to be at?
That's from the COVID dump.
Yeah, we're looking at Tesla from the COVID dump in March 2020 to where we're at today. We're seeing Tesla has 919.25% rise.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're talking about that or MicroStrategy.
MicroStrategy is the other one.
Yeah. Because Tesla was already on a rip previously because it was at $300 share, rode all the way up, I think, to like 1,500, split, 5-way split, then came riding right up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, MicroStrategy for another 875% up from the COVID bottom. I mean, I think it's interesting just to analyze assets or equities rather from the COVID low, because these are the companies that have survived. It's kind of like a different start. Like anything before this, it's just the previous system. Now it's just like, all right, who's making those crazy gains? Because these are the winners of the COVID. You know,
Technology
so
companies.
yeah, I mean, whatever it is, just as a chartist, just looking at the chart, you're seeing which ones are thriving and which ones are dying.
Yeah.
So I like the COVID low.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, compared to what? Compared to Bitcoin, it's COVID low. We're to where we are today. All right, we're beating both of those. 1,265.5% from
Less than a year.
from low to high. So
11
I
months.
mean, still, it's the best performing asset. Pretty incredible.
get those stimmies, those stimmies.
Stimmies, yeah. There's more stimmies coming in March.
Yes.
Well, and that's going to be funny to see what that does, right? The stimulus package, because I don't know when that's coming through, but obviously
Mid to late March, I've been hearing.
So once that happens, I'm expecting the price of Bitcoin and even just other assets in general just to go up, because people are just going to put their money into something that has at least some sort of value versus a dollar, to hold a dollar.
That's what happened with the last round of stimmies.
Yeah. Well, I saw something, and I even shared it once or twice about if you were to use your stimulus package, the $1,200, the time you got it and invested it, the $1,200 would be worth about over $10,000.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Like, and some people did that. A lot of people did that. I mean, a lot of Bitcoiners, at least, or crypto people.
I remember I looked up when we got the last stimulus check, and that was right here.
Yeah.
That big candle that broke us out of this below 8,000.
What's the value right there? Because I can't see. I
had to zoom way in. This is a long time ago. Almost can't. Like, it looks like a big candle here, but
yeah.
So how much was that from high to low? 7,700 to 9,000 in a day. Because I can give you the percentage. That's probably more relevant information.
Right.
17%, 16% in a day.
Yeah, that's a nice. I'm
curious. Back then, that was a good one to see. That made us feel better, at least me, after that COVID dump.
What's that? What is about $1,000? What is that, like 200 or 2 billion or something? I don't know. I'm trying to think off my head. Like, how much market cap would that be increased by? Maybe 20 billion.
Oh, in that day?
Yeah, for that move right there. You think how much money actually went into the market?
Just poured right in on Coinbase. Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were at this time, that nice big candle zoomed in, made me feel better. Like, wow, that's a big move in one day.
Yeah.
We have a day like yesterday. We had a $10,000 move in an hour last night.
Yeah, and then $10,000 probably down too, right? Or 8,000.
Look at that candle.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. I mean, a lot of people that, like, I've seen a lot of newer people into the space where they're looking at this stuff and they're seeing, something go from like 58 to like 55, and then even 58 to 50, and they're like freaking out. And I'm like, it's not really that big of a move if you look as a percentage wise. I mean, yeah, if you're
30%, it's big, but
right. And what was this, like 10%?
Let's see. I'm really eyeballing this here.
I mean, I'm looking at a chart right now in front of me just for the daily, and it says 10%.
I think I saw something like 15, 20.
20%. But that was at that real low, quick wick.
Yeah.
Right?
If I zoom in a little more.
The wick that got,
Got me. We could say it out loud.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, I had an open trade last night, and this was an ugly one for me. I think my liquidation was at the mid 48,000s, right around here. So clearly hit me. That was just about what my liquidation price was.
What you had
And I
leverage
remember
on
going
that?
to sleep. I was like, maybe like right around here. And I was like, I think I'll be all right. I'm just going to let it ride. Dead. Got
That's
liquidated.
why stop losses, man.
Yeah. You know, I took it. You know what? A big part of it was that MicroStrategy news. And like we were talking about, they were going to start buying every 1 second until they buy up enough Bitcoin. I was like, oh, there's no way that the price is going to drop now. And I just took that for granted. And I went to sleep pretty much.
Yeah, 2,000. What was the number? He said $2,000 a second, right?
Basically. Every 1 second, they're going to make a $2,000 market buy on Coinbase Pro. That's what they said.
I wish I could do something like that, you know?
Yeah.
$2,000 a second for 10 days. Like,
I would take that per day. That'd be a pretty good deal
yeah.
for me.
Must be nice.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that was my own arrogance, my own greed. But I assumed if that's going to be happening, the price isn't going to dip. Right. And, you know, that's the terrible way to trade for anybody listening to this.
Yeah, you always if you're making trades or whatever, you got to set your stop losses, because it's better taking a small hit, and especially and you were using Bybit, you were using leverage on Bybit, right?
5x leverage, yeah.
5x. Ouch. I mean, look, it could have went the other way, right? Could have.
Well, that doesn't really pay to think about now. I mean, that's what I was hoping for, and I would have woke up a happy man. Instead, I just gave that chunk of trading funds away. I gave it back. MicroStrategy probably bought my Bitcoin.
Maybe, or just somebody that was shorting it at that point. Because I actually saw on Twitter there were some people that were like, "How do how do I put out a short on Bitcoin?" Some people did, probably made some, earn some Bitcoin if they're doing the the inverse perpetual.
Works right? The same way. Yep.
So they earn the Bitcoin.
That is a nasty.
Short it and earn it, which isn't so bad.
So that's a 1 hour candle. How quick was that wick? Does anyone know? I'll go to the.
It was like 3 minutes, right?
Look at that. 2 15-minute candles.
Yeah.
Yeah. For like 5 minutes, the price went that low and it shot right back up. Oh well, that was enough to ruin my morning.
And actually, I saw something that was kind of cool looking at that, even though it's not cool that thing dipped like that, but it looked like the Tesla thing inside that, like it looked like a T, just the way.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that too.
Another one too, I saw like an image where a guy was like pushing up everything like after it fell, just moving it right back. But it, that's what I'm saying. Like, people that are trading, you got to be very careful. I'm not a big trader myself. I just buy and hold. That's my thing. And it's always seemed to be, paying off. In the long run.
Not as exciting.
No, it's definitely not. It's boring as hell, right?
No, it's not as exciting.
Yeah.
Well, you guys get to sit and just enjoy this candle. Like, wow, that's crazy. Meanwhile, that candle stabbed me in the heart last night.
Yeah,
we don't get any like freaking finishes. We're just kind of just getting fucked up the whole time.
Taking the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's down, But then what I do is if it's down, I'll just throw a little, I'll throw some fiat into that. I'll make a little purchase, and then that's it. You buy the dips, as they call it, and then.
Yeah, look, if you're able to buy that dip, it shot back up like 10-15% immediately. Right. It looks like we're pulling back a little right now, but those bounces are nice. Yeah, if you just played that bounce, you had 15% more.
I personally thought
I think it's going back down. I think it's
looking that way.
Go down into the 40s.
I also heard Elon tweeted that he felt like Bitcoin was overvalued.
No, the price is pretty high. That's what he said, something like that. Except he also did that with Tesla, and then the price of Tesla did pretty good.
They both took a hit, yeah.
Right? Didn't Tesla, like, he's like, oh, I think the price of Tesla is high or something like that, and then it went down a little bit. The next thing you know, that's when not too long after that,
wasn't the whole market down today?
Everything's been down for S&P, I think, for 5 days in a row or something like that. I don't know. I haven't really been paying too much attention to this, actual markets, but
What's SPY is the S&P 500, right?
Looks like it.
Let's see what it was doing.
Yeah, it's down a little bit, right? And I think it's been going down. It's definitely very,
Everything is so volatile right now.
yeah. Well, I mean, look at the current situation that everything's in. It's like, actually, speaking of that, we'll go into maybe some news about, what was it? Did you guys see the news about Janet Yellen today?
Which one? I've been seeing a couple different headlines.
Let me see if I can pull this up. I mean, she basically said something about Bitcoin being inefficient. And it's like, wow, Bitcoin's inefficient, whereas, the
Oh, is it payment system? I think I saw that headline.
Yeah, the Fed is any better, where they're just printing money and devaluing the dollar and I think, what was the number? Like, I think it's like 100 billion a month is being printed or some crazy thing. I mean, actually, no, it's probably more than that.
I think it's more.
Yeah, it's got to be more, because what was it, 6 trillion was printed
Last year?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what, 500 billion a month, 125 billion a week.
It looks like 16.5 billion a day, pretty much.
Yeah. So that, and that's way more than the 2% inflation rate that everybody's talking about.
They're not done yet.
Yeah.
More stimmies are coming.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm starting to hear more and more chatter about like market tops too, and everything's looking like it's very toppy, and it would make sense. It would make a lot of sense.
Well, if you look at the whole GameStop thing and just the Wall Street bets and the way everything's been going, and if you look at the prices of the stock market and everything like that, it definitely does seem toppy. But if they're going to continue to add stimulus and print more money, and that's going to go into the market, it's just going to keep going up, right?
Feel like that's the kind of thing I would have been thinking that last night if I was trying to play it that way. Like, I don't think you should make a decision based only on that. That's like an all or nothing. I feel like the rug could get pulled out pretty badly. You know what I mean? The risk is very high. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk, and the volatility is the roof. When people talk about Bitcoin being very volatile, or any other crypto, and it's like, have you looked at the stock market lately? It's very, it's very volatile too.
Everything's volatile. Yeah.
Like, just seeing some of these things punch up, like, you're like, what, just GameStop. Like, the GameStop thing is another whole situation where you could talk about it just going through. I don't even know what the price of GameStop is right now, but
it's come down mostly back to normal. Yeah, the S&P 500 itself is up 80% pretty much since the COVID dip.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. Almost doubled in less than a year for the regular stock market.
You got to think of it too, is like that means that somebody actually had to buy it at the low right there.
Yeah.
Most people were not buying it.
Oh, that's how we measure though,
Yeah. You got to think maybe like a year to date, maybe you could kind of get a better grasp of something. But yeah, it's not it hasn't been pretty good with
year to date is closer to like 18%, which is still good.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it would have done anyway. It was kind of just chopping up in that direction,
It just seems very, very high. I mean, what was the average gains for the S&P? Used to be like 8% a year or something like that, right?
I think it's what you shoot for, yeah.
Right, and then you see something like that, like, something. It just, how much longer can you hold up for with that?
I don't know. Well, like you said, maybe something like this happens. Was that the Fed injecting stimmies? It looks like it might be.
Yeah, what are those dates though?
One is around the end of September. One is around the end of October. So election season, I guess. I don't know if there's anything to do with it, but
I don't know if
that time.
Yeah, I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but still, we'll see how that goes. I mean, this is, it definitely makes me nervous if I was in the stock market, even in crypto market. I mean, everything is just so high.
Yeah, everything.
just the fact that Bitcoin is over $50,000. It's over like I mean, I don't know if it's at trillion right now, but I mean it's close to $1 trillion market cap. It was over a trillion, but it's like that's pretty crazy.
If it isn't right now, it will be again very soon.
Yeah, and like Greg was saying, I think it's gonna also, my number is like 45K. It's gonna go down to maybe even 42. And then once it touches that, then I think we'll see like 70, 75, something. It's good to see some sort of consolidation after a move. The very volatile $10,000 daily candles, like $10,000.
Not a big percentage anymore, though. You're talking about 20%.
That's still a lot.
It's a big number, but the percentage hasn't changed. It's actually the percentage it's less volatile than it's been in the past by percentage.
Right. I don't know if you saw it too, where I was reading something somewhere that says like 40% of the money in Bitcoin right now is probably institutions.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not hearing about a ton of institutions, but they are putting a ton of money into it, buying a lot of Bitcoin.
Right. No, it's
get that pulled up. I noticed this tweet.
Yeah, that was one that I was looking at actually
today.
Yeah, I love Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki.
Bitcoin's extremely inefficient, says Janet Yellen. Give me a break. Does she think printing trillions of fake dollars is efficient? I like listening to him lately. You hear him just like laughing because he's been right all these years and it's just playing out before his eyes.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki here. Yeah, I like him. I read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I thought it was a pretty good book too. I mean, it definitely teaches you a few things here and there. And it did make me want to invest in real estate. But, right now I think real estate is a little tougher because of the whole current situation, especially if you're going to be a landlord or something like that. And you have, certain laws and stuff like that where people can't pay and they're just not allowing them or not forcing them to pay. If you're a landlord and listen, I understand some of the laws are for like slumlords and stuff like that, but like, let's just say you're just, somebody that has like an apartment, building with 4 apartments in it, and you're just trying to get, some cash flow and income and
kind of grimy, right?
What?
It's kind of grimy. It's just kind of dirty.
Yeah.
Like, just stuff that's building up, like whatever, just freaking spit money out.
You're not allowed to kick them out or ask for rent, but you got to pay your bill still.
I'll just be the landlord of Bitcoin. That's a lot easier for me.
Well, you don't have to pay
property tax.
A property tax or
property tax is what kills you. It eats away the equity in 30 years.
Well, property tax is also just maintenance, right? You put maintenance on a building.
Yeah, but property taxes over time will eat away at the capital, right?
Yeah.
So
unless you had a place in Manhattan, maybe that's not as bad. We got a giant building, like I don't know.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's making me think of I was listening to a George Gammon video the other day, and he was talking about how he could see the focus on taxation shifting from things like property or working for money and income to assets, because it kind of goes to what we were talking about with this volatility going on. They're going to start taxing things in different ways, because like Greg was just saying, I listened to that and it doesn't sound very appealing for me to go buy a property to rent it out. It's a lot of work. They tax you every year on it. Unless you really know what you're doing. It's just on the front end of things, just thinking about it, like, I think I would rather just own an asset that's going to appreciate in value,
But doing all that, if that's the case, you're just going to make people move out of your country, and they're going to move, and people with those assets and money or whatever you're going to call it, they're just going to move to places that are more tax friendly. Because me personally, I know that if crypto or Bitcoin or whatever hits a certain value, and if it does get to the point where it's that insane where they're going to really hit you with ridiculous taxes, I'm moving to Portugal, where they're not going to charge you for 10 years to live in their country and pay 0 taxes there. Because think about it, the amount of taxes after a while that you'd be paying, you could literally buy a house on a beach or something like that in Portugal. Mm-hmm. So why would I want to do that?
Is it easy to get citizenship there?
listen, if you have I'm sure if you're a crypto baller, I'm sure they're going to be, hey, come here. We'll be glad to take you in because you're going to spend money here and maybe you're going to start a business here and like that's you want to incentivize people to come into your country and buy things and spend money there, help the economy instead of just taxing them to death because it doesn't do any good. And
Well, the
the
United
taxing
States
thing,
has the expatriate tax for like multimillionaires.
Yeah, I've heard it's very difficult to break yourself away from that.
I think if you have like 2 or 3 million or something, there's like a extra tax for you to leave.
what are they
Yeah.
going to do? They'll
Pretty
hold
hefty,
you.
I think.
I'm just curious, how does that work? Because
What is that?
hold you there? Like, if let's say you have 100 Bitcoin, how are
Don't
they going to sit there and say like, oh, no, you can't leave? Like,
I mean, you could leave, then you just might get arrested if you're ever in a country that has an extradition policy with the United States.
yeah,
They want their money, man. They're going to get you if they want their money. There's legal ways to go about it. And I think at those times you're kind of left with your principles because it's like super expensive to get out or you're going to pay all that tax.
It just seems terrible for a country that is a free country, right? Or wants to be a free country. Like you
United
want,
States is the only country that has like a global income tax. No matter where you are in the world, if you're an American citizen earning income anywhere else in the world, you owe the tax to the United States.
yeah. Well, it's a sad thing that's happened because I mean, what 100 years ago there wasn't even an income tax, or maybe it was made 100 years ago, or something like that. Maybe it was
It
like
was originally a war
1917.
tax. So
Yeah, during World War One.
Civil War was actually the first time Abraham
Okay.
Lincoln had it, and he called it the greenback, and there was actually the first form of the fiat dollar. But that was the first experience of a war tax. Before it was called the income tax, it was called the war tax because you literally needed it to like. It's kind of like we're at our last licks here, guys.
Right, and that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You're in a civil war in your own soil,
Yeah, it's
and
like we either like better give everything we got, or we're just going to be taken over by some other gang, and maybe
right,
they won't be so nice. So, but what happened after World War II? The
World War
war
One.
tax just stayed, and
Yeah,
they kept building and expanding, and eventually they rephrased it and called it the income tax. I mean, it was
it
always the income tax, but
it was World War One though, right? Woodrow Wilson.
um, that was the creation of the fiat dollar. The first income tax was actually after the Great Depression in like 1930, 31 or so. And I think the
Okay.
first income tax was like 1% or something like that. It was like really, really, it's interesting if you look at the numbers. I did a study a few years back. It was like showing how much, like there was no income tax, right? There was none. So they started out very, very small. It was like
Right, and that's
1% for maybe like the top tier earners or something like that.
yeah,
But then the next year came and like they just increased it a little bit more and then like a little bit more. And if you go by how much percentages there was as far as how much they taxed like the lower portion of the people compared to the higher portion, it's astronomical how much the income tax grew from nothing to what it is today. It's completely insane. But yeah, income tax is the war tax, and it's theft.
yeah.
It's
Oh, and
just
again,
theft.
the worst part is too is you can charge people income tax or any other kind of tax, and then there's tax on your products that you purchase or your gas or whatever else you have, your cell phone bill, and then at the same rate they're going to inflate the money supply, which is a tax that you don't even see. So and it's like if you can print $6 trillion in a year, I mean, why bother even taxing the citizens at that point?
That's a fair
Right?
point these days. It's a fair
Why
point.
bother taxing us if you're going to print 6 trillion? Just keep printing the money and let me freaking save my money and put it into something that at least maybe I can help pay off debt or anything else that I have to pay off. Like
That's when Bitcoin becomes really important. Keep your wealth somewhere.
And it's
I'm interested to see what happens when the government wants their taxes and the people have an ability to say no.
yeah.
I agree.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Like you said,
gonna
the first
be
time they did an
interesting.
income tax was to fund a war. That's
Right.
what the money was. That's how this whole system started, based on violence.
And it's not even our wars. It's just the power, those in power. They're fighting each other, and we're just being exploited by all the leaders, all the leading leaders of each gang.
Yeah.
So
And they're all basically making us fight in between ourselves,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if you see families throughout the world, they all kind of look like they want the same thing, right? We all want a job, want a food, shelter, and
Opportunity.
the pursuit of happiness
That's it.
and just to be better.
All I want is to be left alone to just live on some compound and not be bothered and just do what I want to do and hang out and chill.
Just travel freely across a continent, like
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
other creatures of the world.
A world traveler just having a good time. I mean, maybe
If
I'll
you choose to, yeah.
maybe I'll just get a big enough boat and I'll just live on the ocean for the rest of my life.
Those
with that special boat
those
tax.
channels of the families who just like buy a sailboat, or I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I was watching one actually today, and my wife is like, "Oh, they had like a baby on board, like a 6-month-old," and I'm kind of like, with that, but I was like, "Hey,
nuts.
if they're doing it, and
Is the navigation systems and autopilots really that good?
yeah, they're pretty good, that stuff, and the boats and the equipment today is pretty amazing." So
Because like a lot of them say like I have no sailing experience. They say like I have no sailing experience.
yeah, they start out
And they're like traveling across the Pacific Ocean. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, that's
Sorry,
Baby.
YouTube algorithm. You're gonna have to.
I think
F
if
yourself up.
I had no sailing experience, but well, actually I do, but if I didn't have any, I would definitely not be sailing across large bodies of water, where literally you can't see land for like days on end.
Dude,
like
it's insane.
and you better like learn how to like chart properly and make sure that you're going in the right direction because
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like after, like we went to the same college or whatever,
Yeah.
and we're mariners basically. We saw what people who were pursuing navigation had to understand, and how much of a headache they had when they studied the stars. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you guys going through that, or you're just kind of winging it? I don't know.
No,
You guys have fucking little babies. Is
Yeah.
that child abuse? I don't know.
There was actually one channel I watched. It's called like I haven't watched in a while. It was like La Vega Bond or something like that. And there's like I think an Australian couple or something like that. And they actually had a baby. And I'm like, how the hell are they doing this? Like, it's just, I don't know. But hey, that's what I kind of want to do. So maybe that's the plan. I won't have a country. I'll just have the water. The ocean will be my land or water or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know anymore. I just hope that things work themselves out, and hopefully our country and other countries and other whatever banks can get themselves together and fix this thing, because I don't think they're going to fix it. And this is why we all are into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, because it takes the the power and money or whatever you want to call it out of the hands of a few individuals and puts it into everybody to kind of make these agreements, or and also it's like you don't have to trust, you're not supposed, like, you're supposed to have trust in your money, right? Isn't it like the dollar says, "In God we trust," on the dollar? It's like, but we don't really trust our dollars, do we? So like, and you also even see like how the evolution of our dollar has gone, where it says like, "We'll pay gold to the bearer on demand," and then it says, "We'll pay to the bearer on demand," and then it just says $10, or something like that. And you could actually find that picture. I saw it a while ago, and I'm just like, Yeah, and it's kind of funny to see that, because like I remember seeing old money and it says we'll pay to the bearer on demand, and I remember being younger looking at it and go like, what does that mean? What does that mean on the thing? And it's like, back in the day they were supposed to literally take that money and give you gold or silver or whatever at the bank and pay it on demand. Like, hey, I want my silver right now, I want my gold right now, give it to me. And they got rid of that, just put the value of it, and that's it. And it's like, it's it's I words right now have no, what I mean? Like you could just see, it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I mean,
We got scammed.
got scammed, and it continues to get bigger and worse.
and slowly too, right? It's like anything that happens, it's incrementally just, whether it's freedom of speech or gun control or, you name it, it's little steps. So if you're not really paying attention to it, you don't really notice it. So
Yeah,
if you're
I
not
mean,
noticing it,
there was an empire that was created after World War II, and we lived in it.
yeah.
It's
And
normal.
kind of
And
the
if you're not paying attention,
it's kind of weakening, so it's being
Yeah.
exploited.
And for the first time, crypto gives us actually a choice.
Yeah, and
least on the currency front.
connects the world on a global level, which is so amazing. That's that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this last time, but we talked about like that level that there's a line that it seems like civilizations don't cross. They reach a dead end. That's why it's so quiet when we listen into space. We don't hear anything. And it's like, well, why not? Seems like, we reach a point probably where we kind of just make ourselves go extinct one way or another. So how do you get across that line to where you can survive that extinction event? Perhaps through technology, maybe through Bitcoin, that could be some type of force that could bring the world together more and free themselves from tyrants.
Yeah. Well, also, you got to think of it too. It makes things like, if you all read the Bitcoin Standard, right? I'm assuming
I own it. It's on my bookshelf.
you didn't read it yet.
No.
It's a really good book.
Maybe I'll do the audio book. I'm not going to read it.
It can be a hard read at sometimes, especially if it's late at night and you're trying to because I had some chapters or pages where I actually had to like I would read through like 2 pages, like I got to start over.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of that, but it's really amazing just to see the history of money and economics. And basically they had said, when the world was on the gold standard, or most of the world, things were thriving, wars were really not happening. And what made it so great was think about this. And I said to somebody on Facebook before, where they said, I said basically, if we're on some on a standard, a Bitcoin or gold standard or whatever, where the money is fixed and a country's money is fixed, to fund a war, they would have to tax the citizens, because they couldn't just print money out of thin air. And if it was a war that was literally not worth fighting, especially if it's for some BS reason, or it's not, whatever the case is, right? Maybe citizens would be against fighting that war and say, well, we're not going to pay for that. We don't want to give our money to fight this war. And, and then at that point, maybe the citizens would go and say, you know what, we want a different government, because you're not working for us. You're funding some thing that we want nothing to do with. And, the thing is with our country is they can still fund these wars and stuff like that, because even if they don't get enough money from us, they just print it out, and fund these endless wars that we've been fighting, since we were kids.
Well, it's worse than printing, right? Because they steal it from our wages and our savings and our children.
Yeah.
So it's like evil.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
just like the most disgusting form of greed and thirst for power that you'd ever imagine. So
Yeah, and that goes back to why it would be nice to have a Bitcoin standard where you replace Bitcoin where gold was being used in central banks, and they could issue out loans, or not even loans, but there's like a currency backed
right,
by that instead of backed by gold, like where we used to be before 1971
right.
when we took up the gold standard.
And what makes it all possible? What
Right.
makes it possible is trust, because you have something that everyone can trust.
And not only
That's why
that,
the dollar says, "In God we trust," because they know that's the best you're gonna get is trusting in God. You know,
but
In prayer.
but you don't
Money's
because
even
prayer.
have to.
there is no truth
But
when
you
you're
don't even
dealing
have to
with
trust it
humans.
though. That's the best part. You could verify it. You could actually know that it's there,
Right.
because even with gold, for the longest time, I mean, look, there's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched. There's a show I think on Netflix, and it's like American Secrets or something like that. And there's a whole episode about Fort Knox, and they even say sometimes that Fort Knox may not even really have any gold there. That it's actually just like it's like a what's the word, like it's significant. It's like signifies uh that, like, oh, there's gold there, but there really isn't, but it's kind of just like, you understand what I'm saying, like
There's like
basically,
paper gold, so to speak.
like, oh yeah, there's gold there.
Proof of
It's
ownership
definitely,
kind of thing.
yeah, but like the reality is, even if there's armed guards and stuff there, there's no gold in there, and it's just all like,
Just put on a show.
yeah, it's like a fake thing going on. But that's the whole thing, where Bitcoin, what's there, right? It's an open ledger for everybody to see. And, you know, and that's why I gotta tell people, like, and it's funny, there are a lot of people that are just like, and I'm not, you guys know me personally, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi at all. All right. I'm not, but because I feel like there are certain cryptocurrencies that can have other use cases besides a store of value, or just being used as a money supply. Um, but there are also a lot of cryptocurrencies that are just worthless too.
A lot.
A
A
lot.
lot of them.
And and it upsets me where people will buy all these other cryptocurrencies, but they have zero Bitcoin. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, do you understand the difference? And Greg will show you, man. Greg will show you all the charts, every single one. There's like maybe like 1% of the cryptocurrencies that actually do pretty well against Bitcoin. And that's, like, but most of them, and even like Max Kaiser has said, like, the reason for altcoins is basically to steal your Bitcoin. You know,
To be true.
and I've seen it, because I bet you if I go and look at all my Bitcoin purchases and I compare them to the actual Bitcoin value in my portfolio right now, I bet you it's definitely down. Unless you get lucky and you get a coin that springs up and 500 goes up, or not 500, but maybe 10x's compared to Bitcoin, and you get lucky, and then maybe you sell half of that, you make some, but
I don't know when to get in and out in those things too.
yeah. So I mean, and the only thing is, though, like, there are certain coins, like proof of stake coins, where you're actually earning that coin, which kind of acts like a savings account where you're earning interest. Those work pretty well. And if that coin does go up, because like right now, like Cardano, which you guys know I'm like a big fan of, has been doing pretty well. That earns about 5.5% if you're staking. So, when you're staking something that's earning you 5.5%, and it's also doing pretty well against Bitcoin, at least lately, not long term, because I think the highest Cardano was like, I think it was like $1.30-ish. It's at $1 now, or $1.10 now.
Let's see, the previous high.
Yeah, I think it was like $1, maybe $1.40. So
Get it.
it was probably really for a short term too. But yeah, dollar was at $1.21.
Yeah.
But if you look at,
25, something like that.
but look at the Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin Satoshis. What is that? I'm thinking,
83.
yeah, I don't know what that. I got to think how much. It was probably like 8,300 Satoshis or something like that.
Yeah, now it's hitting all-time high USD prices, but it's only 0.2. Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's a
21.
fraction of that, like a quarter of that.
Quarter of it, BTC prices.
Yeah, so
And we're
that's
at about the same dollar price.
right, and that's what, But again, if you're earning 5.5%, and maybe it does go up and it does have a use case, it would be nice to have something that's just passive income, right? That's my big thing. Like I'm a big believer in passive income. I think because like if you own stocks and certain stocks, maybe not tech stocks, but earning dividends is a real nice thing. Where if you have a certain amount and you could just live off of your dividends, and that's kind of goes back to that not selling your assets thing, where we all are kind of in agreement with, where you don't sell your assets, right? Maybe you borrow against them, and it was like a buy, borrow, die, whatever you want to call it. So maybe that would work good, where if you get passive income. But again, it's Bitcoin is to me the main show, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's possible to outperform Bitcoin, but why would you put all that effort into it if you don't have to? And then
right.
you're putting it at risk. You're taking a risk there too. You might not
just
come out on top.
focus on how to earn more fiat so you could put it into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Pay off better.
Even if you like we always say, get off zero, right? Isn't that our theme of the show? Get off zero. Like if you have, $100,000 in crypto, but have zero in Bitcoin, it's like, what are you doing? At least put half of that in Bitcoin or a quarter of that.
Yeah, if you're treating it as a savings account, why wouldn't you? If you're looking at it for the long term,
Right? Because we all believe that Bitcoin is going to be some, and people think we're probably crazy, but I mean, if you go to $100 trillion market cap, which is very well possible, if you think of all the money in the world and all the assets in the world and everything like that,
if it becomes a reserve currency, that's what you're looking at, or
right,
bigger,
which is a $5 million Bitcoin, right? And that's just being conservative in 10, 20 years. Like it could be very well higher. It could be less. It could be worth nothing.
You might start using different terms than dollars to describe it.
Yeah, and and people start saying, "Oh, Bitcoin is it's an old technology and it doesn't have many use cases." And it's like, dude, it's like you're trying to reinvent the wheel. Like this is the wheel, or whatever you want to call it. It's the technology of it's an amazing technology, and people need to understand that. And it can, and you can literally compare it to a digital gold in the sense of it being used as gold was being used by the central banks and stuff like that. And actually, if you want to go into it, I could actually talk about this where maybe I'll share who's got that right now. That's you, Jeff, right? Let me just real quick. Let's see here. This right here, if you guys can see this, Federal Reserve of Richmond, which I guess is 1 out of 12 Federal Reserve banks, hires. I cannot pronounce the name, Jeff. You were saying it pretty well before. Sunaya
Tutija. Taking a guess there, shot in the dark.
As their chief innovation officer. So basically, she's a Bitcoiner, and they hired her as a CIO. So you wonder now, now they're getting somebody that you're seeing it through all areas of either government or banks or corporations, where slowly they're having people that are into Bitcoin and crypto come into these companies or corporations or governments. I mean, we have our first senator, the senator of Wyoming, Cynthia Lumens. She's a Bitcoiner. And in fact, like if you guys saw on Twitter, it was her and another person, a congressman in Ohio, I think. They put the laser eyes, right? I don't know if you guys were.
I did notice that, yeah.
So there's a thing on Twitter where it says like basically laser eyes till 100K. So everybody on their profiles are putting laser eyes on until they hit 100K Bitcoin price. So, and that's a senator, like a senator,
United States senator. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and then also you look at Miami, right? Miami's mayor is a big Bitcoiner, and they're talking about having Miami's what's the word, like fund or whatever, going to have Bitcoin in it, and possibly paying people in Bitcoin. So like it's slowly happening. And
What about the I forget his name, the football player that takes half his salary in Bitcoin?
Russell Okung. He's a tackle. Yeah.
But because of Bitcoin, he technically was the highest paid player in the NFL last year, which was a way around the salary cap too in the article I was reading, in a sense.
Yeah, and actually the thing that they use, I don't know if you guys ever looked at it. It's called like Strike. Let me see if I could find something.
Pull that up. I want to see that. Show me Strike.
Strike Bitcoin.
Strike by Zap. It's not very clever.
The way that it works though is pretty amazing. Let me see if we can find the Strike Bitcoin use.
Go to all or news, unless you want to play a video.
Let me. The way that it was demonstrated is actually pretty amazing. So basically, it's almost kind of like Lightning Network, the way it's being used, right? Strike Bitcoin use. Let's see if this works. Learn to buy Bitcoin using Strike. Let's see if this is actually.
Sounds good.
Hi, everyone. On stackabit.com, I have some educational content about ways that you can buy Bitcoin, and tonight I'm going to present an alternative. And in doing so, I'm going to break a couple rules. One, I normally only talk about using non-custodial wallets, right? Those are wallets where you control the private keys to your Bitcoin. When you use a custodial wallet, well, the company that publishes the wallet or creates the wallet, well, they're actually the ones holding the private keys to your Bitcoin. And if they get hacked, a hacker could make off with your private keys and therefore your Bitcoin. But in this case, this demonstration, we will be using a custodial wallet. And the other rule I'm going to break is the rule of simplicity. I really like to keep it simple. And in this case, it's still going to be easy to do this transaction, but it will involve the use of two different apps. So the transaction I'm going to walk you through is buying Bitcoin over the Lightning Network using an app called Strike. Now, the Lightning Network it's essentially a decentralized system where you can make near instant payments using Bitcoin. And it's a lot faster than the alternative, which is doing those transactions on-chain, where transactions can take hours, maybe even over a day, depending on the speed of the network and the amount of fees that folks are willing to pay. But with the Lightning Network, well, you can literally process that near instant transaction. You could use the Lightning Network to buy a cup of coffee or some other point of sale type transaction. So to make this transaction, as I said, we'll use an app called Strike, which is published by Zap, and we'll use a Bitcoin Lightning wallet. Now, Strike it's a payments app. It's essentially like PayPal, except when you use Strike, you're making all of your payments over the Lightning Network. And of course, you can download it from the App Store or Google Play Store, and it's a pretty simple process to walk you through to set it up and to link it to your bank account. I won't do that at the moment because I really want to focus only on the transaction itself. So before we actually make that transaction using Strike, I want to actually show you a comparison so that we can see the degree to which the fees are less expensive when you actually make that transaction over the Lightning Network. Now, what I have shown here is the potential purchase of $100 worth of Bitcoin using the Cash App. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I love the Cash App. I think it's a great app for anyone who's new to the Bitcoin space. It's easy. It's Bitcoin only. And while the fee here in this case is $2.27 for this particular purchase, which is 2.27% of the actual purchase price, overall, I think that the convenience and the simplicity are well worth the fees that you'll actually pay. But this is the more expensive of the two, and now we'll show you how to transact that same amount using Strike. Okay, so I've downloaded a Bitcoin Lightning Wallet app to my phone. It's called the Wallet of Satoshi. And as I mentioned before, it is a custodial wallet app. So any Bitcoin that you're actually holding on this wallet, you want to make sure that you're really only holding a small amount. And if that amount were to rise, or even a small amount for that matter, you probably want to move to a custodial wallet when you have the chance. But this is a pretty easy to use wallet. I'm not going to walk through the setup process because, as I said before, I really want to get to the transaction itself. So with this wallet, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hit this receive button in the upper left, and we're going to add a custom amount, and we're going to do it. You can see you can have two options there, Lightning and on-chain. We want to make sure that we're doing Lightning, so we'll add the custom amount. Now it actually shows the amount in dollars, which is good. I'm actually going to make it for 100, so we can do an apples-to-apples comparison, and we'll hit done. So now what we'll do here is you can see underneath the QR code, it actually says tap QR code to copy. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now we'll open up Strike. So we have that QR code copied. We'll go ahead and open up Strike. When you open up Strike, you'll have the option after you set this up. As I said, won't walk you through it now, but once you have it set up, you'll hit pay. And now you can scan or paste a request. We're going to hit this paste button. And as you can see, the amount here that you'll actually be transacting is $99.96. The fee is 4 cents. So once again, the Cash App had a fee of $2.27 for a $100 purchase of Bitcoin, while using the Lightning wallet coupled with Strike, you're paying a 4-cent fee. Now I will say that the fees using Strike do fluctuate, but I don't think that I've ever paid more than 15 cents for a $100 purchase of Bitcoin. And so they're consistently superior to most traditional means of buying it, whether you're buying it on exchange, whether you're using the Cash App, et cetera, et cetera. And it's lightning fast to do it. But what you'll want to do, of course, is you'll want to move the Bitcoin from the custodial wallet to a non-custodial option when you have the chance. And of course, you probably will incur a fee when doing that. So your total savings isn't exactly $2.23 in this case, but you will save substantially versus making a $100 purchase on any of the, let's call them, more popular Bitcoin apps. So that was a video. I just wanted to show you guys how to make a cheap transaction, Bitcoin purchase, using a combination of Strike and the custodial Lightning wallet. And
Still playing.
That's interesting and relevant. My brother just started buying Bitcoin, like I mentioned, and he was asking me, like, do they always charge you this much in fees on Coinbase? I was like, yeah.
Well, there's two ways around that. The first thing is I would say maybe look at that, because actually after watching that, and that's actually how Russell Okung was being paid. He was being paid somehow through Strike when he was being paid.
Mm.
But also what's good about that too is if you want to send payments to people, or just, like you could literally go from euros to dollars to whatever using Strike through Bitcoin. And it's actually like an amazing app or whatever that this guy Jack Mahler has made. It's really amazing. So if you guys actually want to look into it too, I would definitely recommend it. But for your brother, even you maybe teach him, if he's using Coinbase, teach him how to use Coinbase Pro, and just deposit like $100 and then put a limit order.
Yeah.
And pay, I think it's, instead of paying $3, you'll pay like 56 cents or something like that. Because
He'll get there. He'll get there. Like last week was setting up the Coinbase account, so one step at a time,
Right. It's not a lot, but in the sense is if you're making a purchase every week of $100, that $3 adds up. So, but if you can save, $2.50 per purchase over a time period of 52 weeks, it adds up.
Mm.
which is more
Definitely a
Bitcoin in your pocket, right? That's the way you got to look at it. But yeah, I actually, after watching that video, I may want to try using that app to, and even just like, again, if we can start using Strike to, if you want to buy coffee or something like that, and you could use that instantly, and Lightning Network and all that other stuff. I mean, this is where it's going, and this is why people go like, "Oh, Bitcoin's slow and old and blah blah blah," and it's like inexpensive, and it's like when you see that, it's
and it's just going to be a QR code. Like, I just started going back to Planet Fitness. They don't even use the key card anymore. I have to pull up a QR code on my phone. It's that easy. Boop, scan it. It's a digital wallet.
Yep.
I've used the Lightning Network a little bit too. I played with it and it was that fast. It was like XRP levels of speed.
Right. And
almost instant,
And that's what people look at, like, when people are a bit all 100% in XRP, and then you go and you use that, and it's like, well, yeah, I like Russell Okung, and I think he was a first overall pick from Seattle as a left tackle. Like, I'm a big football fan, so it's nice to see. Like,
I like his message, that's for sure.
I'm a
Pretty
big
much
fan.
all of it.
I'm a big fan of Russell Okung, 100%. Yeah, I love that name too. So, if you guys, if you're any Bitcoiners out there or crypto people, Russell Okung is definitely a person to follow on Twitter.
Check him out on Twitter, yeah, for sure.
I mean, the fact that he got, paid in Bitcoin, and again, it wasn't necessarily paid in Bitcoin, but he was paid through the Strike app, because I think you could have that thing set up automatically where it could, like, when you get paid at your job, it could automatically just pay you in Bitcoin and put it in your account, and you're set to go.
Don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it, right?
Instant savings, absolutely.
And if it's costing nothing to do it, and it's in your account, and it's like anything else, and it's only going to get more and more mainstream as this technology and gets better.
Yep, easier and easier to use. I mean, I think we could all say the same. From like me and Matt, we've been in it for like 3 years now, and Greg even longer. I mean, the wallets and everything are I'm already seeing improvements as far as ease of use and everything. User interfaces are nicer, more simple.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's completely different than when it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, just to touch on DeFi, I think DeFi is still growing and expanding, and that's where kind of like I feel like a lot of people are leaving behind, are too scared or hesitant to get involved in DeFi. Seems to be something scaring them. But for the ones that are in it, I feel like they're ahead of the game right now as far as what they're developing, as far as just what they're used to doing with these new services available to us, to take advantage of, being early and creating some of that passive income to get you through the ups and downs. Like, as long as you're just building that income, you get through the highs and lows a lot easier.
Smooths it out, yeah.
The only issue I have with DeFi right now is, especially with Ethereum, is the fees. The fees are a joke. Like, I think
now you're seeing the competition come in with Binance Coin and using Pancake Swap, and Dot picking up a lot of steam.
Cardano's not too far behind either.
You'll see competition. I mean, there's two ways to look at the Ethereum fees. You could look at them like, oh, it sucks, like, oh, don't want to pay the fees. Or you could be like, well, this is Park Avenue, New York City, man. If you want to come play around here, you got to be ready to pay.
Yeah.
And, if you are willing to pay, the reward is there.
Right.
And other cities will start to grow. Dot is another city, and Binance Coin with Pancake Swap, that's another city. All the other ones are just other cities.
Right.
Which ones are popular, which ones are not.
You get to choose what's best for you and your goals, yeah.
That's it.
The only issue is, though, with Ethereum is, like, when the fees are that high, it turns off people that are testing it out, because, like, let's say they're new, right, and they want to test it out and they want to use DeFi and start earning like nice interest with the stable coins and stuff like that. It kind of limits the ability for somebody to learn and play around with that. And also it's only being made for people that are really wealthy to begin with. So that's my issue. And I know that Ethereum 2.0 is on, it's being worked on. It's getting, they're working on everything. They're trying to get it. But that's kind of funny where like they're not there yet. Whereas, I gotta say is Cardano, they've already gone to the
DeFi's almost doubled since we last talked, as far as the amount of growth in that asset.
Yeah, never mind last year, just since the last time we talked.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, people who are hesitant to get into this and learn about it are getting left behind. That's all.
Yeah. And there's actually, there was another one too, because I'm actually in a chat on Facebook and somebody was talking about Algorand, which actually I got a little bit of some for free on Coinbase. And I think they are a DeFi coin or something like that. I don't know.
They're a smart contract platform, I think.
Right. But they also use DeFi also. And I'm curious to see kind of, maybe I have to look a little more into it, but I'm just curious to see what kind of, they're building. And, and there's so many of them, right? There's a lot of these.
I think Elrond is another one that you could do that on.
Yeah. So like it's getting there. There's a lot of stuff going on where, and actually going to Binance. I mean, you guys, like, the price of Binance is ridiculous. Like, it's $245 for each Binance coin. And that also makes Binance.
That's a reaction to the Ethereum fees.
Right. But another thing about Binance too was they're real big on coin burns.
Yeah.
So they burned a lot of the coins that are in circulation. And I actually have some, because I used to buy Binance coin to use for transactions on Binance, because if you use, would you want to pay, in fees in Bitcoin to make trades, or do you want to use Binance coin? And they would say, oh, use Binance coin and you get your fees are at a discount. Like, I forgot what it was, because I haven't used Binance.
I think it was 25% most recently.
Yeah. But, I haven't used Binance after basically they said they went to Binance US and then living where we live. It didn't make it easier. Plus, Binance US, I think, has a limited amount of different type of cryptocurrencies versus.
Well, you can't even use it in New York State anyway.
Right. I mean, but I it's just funny because I have some Binance coin. And I think I remember buying it. It was like, even at the all-time high back in like 2017, I remember it was like $38. It was like,
which was crazy at the time, but yes.
Right. So if you want to compare that to Bitcoin, I mean, that one's a probably interesting chart to look at, right?
It's one of my would-be holds, because since its creation, it's outperformed Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. Like, there is the few, right? Link, Binance, and
Doge.
Doge cyclically. You can play the Doge cycle pretty well.
Doge is outperforming.
Well, that's a cycle. Those little bumps you're looking at from the past were the cycles I was talking about.
Oh, this actually only goes back to 2019, but I mean, it's technically, if you've held Doge this whole time.
Oh God, Dogecoin, man.
I don't think so.
Don't even get me started on Doge.
They should do DeFi. They could call it DogeFi.
FTX token.
Not even a chuckle. That was a really bad joke.
Sorry.
But yeah, let's see Binance right there. One more up. Yeah. Look at that.
It's a log chart. So this doesn't look too good here.
It's getting back to all-time lows almost.
I mean, it made a new low from all the way back here.
Yep.
November 19th, 2018. And it made a new low on January 4th. Then exploded up with everybody else. But if we look on a log chart, still that's pretty worrisome.
Yeah, it's kind of looking toppy, like many other things, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of ugly.
But it makes sense. They have They have a lot of DeFi action going on right now. And a
What's
shrinking
that
supply
pattern
like
called
that's
where like you like shape like a blowhorn? There's
broadening wedge.
broadening wedge. I don't know what the deal is with those, but
I don't even know if you can count that as a pattern right there. I don't know.
isn't that a K-shaped recovery?
Sure, let's call it that. Binance
Okay.
coins in a K-shaped recovery. I hope that goes viral on Twitter. Hashtag BNB
Binance
K-shaped.
K-shaped recovery.
I have no idea. I just
Yeah.
think this looks familiar. This pattern. Oh, anyway.
Actually,
Binance
else?
coin's the number 3 coin right now. It's above
Check out
Tether.
the dominance chart. Throw on my handy dandy.
well,
Yeah. Binance chart. You want to look at the Binance chart, guys?
yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Let's take her out a bit. Clear this up. I mean, yeah. I mean, the big thing is that lower low that we had just earlier last month. That's kind of really crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of driving the whole ship. I mean, otherwise, yeah. I mean, we're in complete bull mode on this on the daily chart. Just some consolidation here. I mean, you could put some buys down by these Tekken and Kijun lines.
If
There's
they
one
even
thing I
execute, you see the last leg up before that. They didn't even come down to test it.
Yeah. So.
Bull
You know,
mode.
it's funny though. It goes back to sometimes, like, you know, I know you guys are big fans of charts and like stuff like that, but sometimes events or news or whatever can literally take your charts and basically, as Michael Saylor puts it, all your models are destroyed.
Yeah.
Because
COVID did that to every single chart that exists.
No, but if you're trading, you're only concerned with the candles in front of you. I mean,
right.
You don't have to. You don't have. That's the flip side. Is I don't have to listen to any news or anything. I could just literally just look at the chart.
But most of these
Deaf to
charts
the world.
are based because I guess the fees on Ether were getting so high, and with Binance, I guess, getting into DeFi somehow.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because I know when it closed inside the cloud here, that meant things are turning around.
Okay.
And you know, my other indicators, yeah, like we switched to a bull cloud, lagging spans over the cloud, tech and cross, you know, fast over slow, moving averages, closing inside the cloud. All right, we're guaranteed a higher percentage to hit the other side of the cloud. This is a daily chart, so the higher the length of time, the more reliable it is. So that was a big indicator on February 1st, 2021. If you were looking at this, you might have got stopped out back here, but you could have got back in on the reclose and then played edge to edge. Strong close above the cloud. Now you're in full-blown bull territory. So you could have traded it without knowing anything. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
Yeah, maybe the news caused that candle to be so tall, but you don't need to know that. You just need to see where it closes and everything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, if that would have been a nice find, you know, I wish I had some type of alert system that would alert me every time this kind of event would happen. But, you know, there's only so much to pay attention to. I mean, this is what I try to catch these things, but your mind's usually focused somewhere else.
Missed another one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Where are we with Bitcoin right now? This is why I haven't been looking anywhere else, because I'm in this. And it's just been
raging.
It's been a free ride. Like, I haven't had to worry much about anything. I mean, we're full-blown bull all the way up to the monthly. So, I mean, the 12-hour is showing us the next maybe key if we fail to hold this moving average here. Maybe we'll come down, test this, but even anything under here is still probably good buying opportunities, because you still have time to exit before the moving averages cross. You know, you could accumulate under the moving averages and then sell at the cross.
I'd still go
kind of like this. Oh, well, this would have been an epic run.
You got to go way back, right? Yeah, yeah.
Get in around here somewhere. But like here, like you could buy all this even under here, and then you could sell at this cross. And I mean, you probably would have. Then you could buy back in when you get back above. But it's a really cool indicator, the Ichimoku cloud. I mean, I recommend you guys
Yeah,
learn.
3 Commas sent me an email recently about it. I saved it because I want to go through and read the article they sent.
Yeah, I
think
saw
that,
that. I was excited. I was hoping maybe they would have some type of alert system or something to go along with this, but I'm
I'm
not
sure
too
you could
sure.
make something or program something somehow. You know,
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure it's possible. Of course, yeah.
hey, you know
anything's
what?
possible.
Maybe we'll put our heads together and make a Emoji cloud.
Graveyard
That was
indicator.
another. That's how I got into like the 3 Commas algorithmic trading, because I don't know. I heard another trader say like, if you're not doing algorithm trading, like, what are you doing? Like, that's what everyone who's like making anything is doing right now.
Mm.
So there's a lot of different services on the market to help accommodate that. But yeah, there's 3 Commas. I'm still like a white belt beginner in, but there's still a lot to learn on there. Would be worth it to take a look, but we'll see.
Yeah.
This price action is just crazy. It's just crazy, man. I don't know what to do.
Just
Nothing.
hang out,
What to do.
watch
The
it,
best advice I could give you, do
get the
nothing.
popcorn. You know, and buy a little dip here and there, and just, I mean, that's it.
It's a lot. I mean, I don't know how your spheres of life are going with the people around you, but I mean, definitely, friends of mine are getting more excited, getting more pumped up into it, and it's a lot more sensitive. You feel it. You feel the sensitivity. And I don't know if that's weighing on me a little bit, because a lot of them look at me as like, the OG of the crowd. So, I'll get the questions, I'll get the text messages, I'll get this and that. And I'm like, I'm willing to help. Then I always think about my other friend who fell for a scam on his hardware wallet, and it was like, I was the one that told him to go get that hardware wallet months, year before. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't be giving advice like that. Maybe everyone has to go on their own individual development.
Oh,
It's just like,
I think so. Like my brother just started, and I told him like, just leave it on Coinbase for now.
yeah,
If and when you're ready, we'll take the next step. That's all.
I know.
I got him set up with 2-factor authentication with the Google Authenticator.
Just too much. You could feel it sometimes. People are like, "Oh, I'll get that hardware wallet," and I'm having trouble already, kind of setting it up or this or that. I'm like, bro, like, slow it down. Like,
Yeah.
one step first. Your coins are safer on an exchange if you're brand new to this stuff. You have to kind of treat it as an investment to get used to self custody. Send some transactions to yourself. Test out wallets as apps on your phone. Test out apps on your computer. Test out hardware wallets. Like, make the investment, move things around,
Learn.
and get comfortable with it before you start like just sending all your coins off in exchange and you becoming fully responsible for them. Because I hate to hear the stories of people losing their coins. It's the worst thing ever. So
yeah. I was gonna say with that, that's why, like, scam wise, like with your friend, if there's ever an issue where you think there's something just seems fishy, like, you don't have to do anything. You could just sit back and sit on your hands for a second. Like, let's say you get an email from Ledger or Trezor or any of these hardware wallets saying like, oh, there's been an issue and blah blah blah. It's like, if it's really you don't have to immediately go out and take care of this. Like, you can
classic Nigerian scams. Like, just think Nigeria scam.
like just wait and again and
Sorry, Nigeria.
Don't trust, verify.
They're actually doing
right?
really good things with Bitcoin in Nigeria right
Yes,
now.
they are.
The people are really taking it to the man there, and it's one of the leading countries as far as people versus the state standing off. I saw a clip of a Nigerian congressman basically saying like, you got, like, speaking to his fellow congressman, like, our currency is not going to be worth nothing. Like,
Yeah.
do you not understand? And yeah, I mean, the people figured it out. The people who need it the most will figure it out first.
And those are the people that probably need it the most, right? You know,
For sure.
Greg, can you stop sharing? I got a scam email recently. I've actually been getting a few.
Oh yeah, I haven't got any. Personally.
Hey, Greg, stop sharing though, so you can.
Yeah, you
Oh
gotta stop
yeah,
sharing.
sorry. I got lost there.
Let me go to share. I've gotten this from a few different email addresses. Yeah. I can tell you guys definitively, I've never looked at anything like that on this computer, not even once. Never. So I know this is fake, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they threaten you. They're going to tell your family and your job or whatever it is, and they leave this Bitcoin wallet address. Let's check this out right now. Let's see what's going on.
Just forward. You know what? Just send it out. Let's see what happens. I don't think anybody wants to see that anyway.
Bitcoin Explorer. Let's see. Just send it out. Yeah.
Oh,
They want to see that. That's their problem.
yeah, no one's sent up anything yet. Yeah.
Like they made a typo. I checked one the other day and there was some money in it.
There was a typo in their address.
Maybe. What do they care? It's a scam anyway.
Scammers they are. They can't even put the right Bitcoin address.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy.
But I got that one. Here's another one. I don't know if it's the same address. It looks like it. But yeah, I think, Matt, I told you, I might as well bring it up now. I had that EOS scam that I kind of fell for and almost didn't care. I got some email that they said they had coins left over from their ICO that they were going to release. And they said, just input your private keys here. And I didn't have a tremendous amount of EOS. So I was like, it's probably a scam, but I'll take it. I'll roll the dice. And yeah, they took all my EOS. I lost control of my wallet. A couple days later, they took everything I had out of there.
Yeah, it's the same wallet. I think I just.
Yeah, it's the same wallet.
Old McDonald had a farm. ESO.
Yeah, so I'm out of ES now. And I don't really care.
I have a little bit left still.
I'm
Just
kind of
like
sick of that project anyway.
it's just like a slither of pubes.
Scraps of EOS. Not even worth sending.
Oh man. That's funny, man. Well, it's not funny that they scammed you, but it's just
But I did it to myself. I'm responsible in that moment. And I kind of knew that would probably happen. It was just a risk I was willing to take, I suppose.
all right. You guys have anything else for today? Because I actually have a video I want to play just to finish it up.
I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm all
All
set.
right. Let me post this, play the video, and then when this video is over, we'll.
Let's move on to Bitcoin, shall we? That's a
Online
virtual
currency Bitcoin has now almost overtaken
An all-time high this week of $900. Now, at its peak, if you had have invested $1,000 a year,
Very excited. Good times. Good times.
I guess on that note,
That's it. That's January in a nutshell.
pretty much.
Pretty much.
And that's an old video too. That's from 2014. It makes me
Nice.
wonder.
Still relevant.
All
All right, wrapping this thing up now.
Yeah. Hopefully we can piece it all together, and if not, we'll just, whatever.
All right. Well, bye, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Good night.